Welcome back to another episode of the ABL review. I'm here with season 22 week. I want to say it's 5. I've kind of lost track because I haven't been. Yeah, this is season. This is week 5, season 22. 22. Is that even right? I feel like it's 23. Time is a construct that has failed me. Anyways, okay. So first order of business, we're gonna get a little bit caught up on last week. I'm going to do a quick review of some of those games. So Logan versus Keenan was a forfeit. Logan reached out to Keenan, couldn't get a hold of him until past the deadline. So ended up getting a forfeit win there. And just, because I know Keenan's new and we have some newer players in the league, just as a reminder, it's always better, especially if you want to avoid a forfeit. If you know you're going to be busy, please try to reach out. And just, I think they actually had made a plan to battle on Monday night, and then Keenan kind of ended up ghosting him, which also happens. Not a big deal. He used to shame people a lot for this, but that was, before the pandemic when I was a heartless, cruel bastard. Now I'm nice. Anyways, so that's a forfeit win for Logan. Then we had Mitch versus Mike, which for my notes here, great game. Mike played really well around hazards. Because in that game, I think the Hasuin Samurai was stacking up hazards, and Mike ended up losing his rapid spinner very early on. Maybe played a little bit reckless with it, if we're being honest. But was not able to come back, and Mitch was able to get the win. Meowscarada was just a little bit too much for Mike to handle. And then for Papcoon versus Papcoon played Joel in that week. Papcoon played really well despite having a lot of bad luck and exploited the ground weakness. I think he got, if I'm thinking of the right game, I think he got double crit on something. Or no, he had 2 bad misses or something. I can't remember, but I remember he had some really bad luck, but he was able to exploit the ground weaknesses on Joel's team and comes away with a win. Papcoon's having a real bounce back season, so good for him. But with that being done, let's get into the week 5 battles. Replays, there we go. There we go. Okay, so, you know what? Let's hold off. I don't think there's any clear candidates for what is Marquee Match of the Week, but I think I'm going to make that one the Marquee Match of the Week. So we'll come back to that later. We're going to lead off with Papcoon and the Texarkana Toxics taking on Mike. Both of these teams have been pretty good this season, so let's see how they go. Gets the lead off Rotom Heat, goes for the overheat, and then smartly switches up to a Volt switch there. I like that play. Surf's going to come out from the Primarina. I remember, okay, just a little side note. This is just a little anecdote, not really any commentary on the battle itself. But I remember seeing the link go up for this, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll watch that. And then I got distracted, so I didn't end up watching it. And then it was almost 40 minutes later that the final battle was posted. So this is a long one, so strap in, everybody. That's one of the reasons it's not going to be Marquee Match of the Week. It's just too long. So Zapdos is going to come in, easy flip turn on the Alamalola. So I think we don't see pressure come out on Zapdos, which means it's static. And it gets hit with contact moves quite a bit in this game, and we've already even seen the leftovers from Alamalola. So I'm surprised that I don't think it ever gets paralyzed, despite quite a few contact moves. I'm gonna turn down this Pokemon Jazz right now. Feels a little bit loud. I don't know if it's loud for you guys, but back to the battle. This the right one? Yeah. So the Cobalion comes in after the flip turn, Lamora comes in after the flip turn, Cobalion comes in, takes the power gem. I think this right here is a play that potentially costs Papcoon the battle. I know it's turn 4 of a 60+ turn battle. Still, see him stay in and take this Iron Head here. And sure, he gets up the Toxic Spike, but there's a grounded poison type that's going to come in and get rid of that very easily. I don't know why he decided to stay in. I don't think he has great switch-ins, to be honest. But Glamora, I don't like. Nothing's a sack. Nothing else is a sack. He could go into Rotom Heat and threaten this thing with an Earth. Unless a close combat comes out, and even then, I think Rotom can take one of those. I think that is a big tactical error by Papkun. Probably one he wants back. Almalola's going to come in, eat a Volt Switch. I think it just flip turns out. Nope, goes for a Scald. Really trying to grab a burn. Despite what I said earlier about the Zapdos being able to avoid all of the... And see, there goes the Toxic Spike. Like, Zapdos not getting any statics, it does actually avoid burns for a very long time, I believe. So, yeah, see, Alamalola should have come in against this Cobalion. Sure, it's going to eat that Volt Switch, but that's way better than having lost a whole ass Glamora. Chair Reception out, and this you're going to see this showdown a lot of the Alamalola and the Zapdos. It's a pretty safe thing for Mike to be able to bring it in. And yeah, so here on so also I want to call it this turn because this is great. He goes for a Thunderbolt, which prompts the Iron Treads to come in, and he predicts that and goes for a Heat Wave. It's really smart. That's a great play to predict that. I think Iron Treads was a bad call to go into anyways. Rotom Heat resists all moves that Zapdos can possibly carry. I mean, I don't even think it can carry Extra Sensory anymore. I think every move that it could have, because it could even in theory have, what's that move? Weather Ball, and it would be ice, and it'd be because of the snow. But yeah, resist that too. So this always should have been the switch in. It's such a great momentum getter for him, and also it's great for this Mamoswine. Like, this is an awesome bring. I just don't think he used it as wisely as he should have. So actually ends up outspeeding the Zapdos, which means this is a pretty fast Rotom Heat, or a like downspeed nature Zapdos, which I kind of don't think it is. I think this is probably just a faster Rotom Heat than you'd expect. I'm just going to Volt Switch out, do some pretty good damage to the Primarina, as the Love Disc is going to come in. I think this is... Oh no, there's a turn later where he really tries to get stuff in safely, but we're going to see... I think this is where we see... No? Okay, I keep thinking... I thought Serena was going to go down there. Yeah, so now he gets the idea of like, yeah, let's go into Rotom Heat every time Zapdos is here. Overheat's decent damage, but he's going to be able to roost that off, as we see later. Serena's going to come in, obviously as a sack, but we're going to get a tidy up here. And honestly, watching it for the first time at this point, I thought this could have been it. If this has Bullet Seed, I think it probably kills Almalola. So I'm really shocked that we don't see that come out here. I'm going to just get a hard switch out into the Primarina. Does manage to get burned, so that means this Primarina is not going to be at higher than 33% for the rest of the game. But it is doing pretty decent damage to the Love Disc. I think this is where we get quite a few turns of just Wish Protect, trying to wear down that Primarina just a little bit. Gonna skip ahead a couple. So finally gonna flip turn out, do a little bit of damage, bring in Iron Treads, catches it on the Moonblast, which is great. And then it's gonna get a Rapid Spin KO. So I was excited for Papkun at this point, because like, wow, it's like the Cincino doesn't really want to come in on this. So Galarian Slowking doesn't want to come in this. Mamoswine might, but it would have to live in Iron Head. Cobalion's probably not. Primarina, just died, so Zapdos is going to come in. This thing could have a Rock Slide or a Stone Edge or something like that. Zapdos does come in, gets Volt Switched on. So that's a little disappointing that he wasn't prepared to take advantage of that moment, because also he switched this in on Zapdos earlier in the game, so there wasn't any benefit to doing that. Like he said in the Papkun said in the chat, "Oh, I've really tilted myself." Yeah, you did. I recognize that Iron Treads is a difficult Pokemon just because it's got such... You want to put so many moves on it. You want to put Volt Switch, Rapid Spin, Stealth Rocks, Earthquake, Iron Head, Rock Move. You want a lot of stuff on it, and you can't fit all of it. I recognize that, but you gotta find the right call to make. I think in this scenario, this is faster than everything except for the Cincino on the team. I think you have to use this as an offensive weapon, and he didn't. But we do get the Rotom Heat to come in safely here. Burns the first Roost. Gonna see the Overheat come out. Pretty safe U-turn, and now he's gonna try to take advantage of the dropped special attack on the on the Rotom Heat. Just goes for the Rock Blast, trying to get the KO. Decent damage to Alamalola, but not enough to really threaten it, so it's going to be able to fire off a Scald. Does manage to get the burn on the Galarian Slowking while eating a Toxic. Not the trade I think he wanted to take there. Gonna flip turn out, as I believe we get a Chilly Reception out. Yep. Now we have Iron Treads in. It's gonna go for the Iron Head. So, this was, I wouldn't say it's risky. I'm just curious if Papkun did the calc right, because he probably felt pretty good about this, but he, I think, forgot that Ice types get a defense boost in the snow, so that's why he was able to live this. So now he's just hoping for an Iron Head flinch. So he's got a 30% chance to come out of this. Honestly, very lucky, because if he gets this KO, like I said, this has a nice matchup against what's left. But doesn't get the flinch. He's going to lose his Iron Treads. The battle's going downhill at this point. Gets a crit Scald there, but still no burn, which would be nice to just put a little bit of pressure on this Zapdos. And now the Toxic on the Alamalola, that's not good. Encino's going to come out, and I think this is a nice set to go the Terra Rock to try to get a little bit of extra damage, but it's really not resulting in much against this Alamalola. I think he tries to, yeah, he goes for the Scald here, get the burn, never gets the burn. I don't know how many times Zapdos lost HP to Scald, but now we're going to see Phantom Force coming out. Papkun forgetting that this is no longer normal type. Takes a big chunk of damage from Phantom Force. Phantom Force is not widely used. I think a lot of people know why, but I'll just go into a little bit of why you don't see 2-turn moves very often. It's too easy to take advantage of is the big thing. There's 2 types of 2-turn moves, the ones that you use and then have to recharge, and then the ones that you have to have a charge up turn and then use. Both of them are affected by Power Herb. Is that true? Maybe, I feel, you know what? I don't know if that's actually true, because I just realized I've never seen somebody use, like, Power Herb Hyper Beam. I'm not going to look into it, because you shouldn't really be using it. It's really gimmicky to try to use that. That's the only time you really see Phantom Force. Like, I guess this is one of the times you could, because there are no Ghost Resist, so you're doing pretty good damage, but you need to be able to, like, to KO everything by that point. I see the Zapdos come in on the Phantom Force. Is just going to roost it off right here. So the one thing this is doing really well is it's going to stall out Zapdos's Phantom Force, or stall out Zapdos's roosts quite a bit. But it is getting healthy. It's gaining HP every turn. It's like netting 7 HP. He's going to get the U-turn off, go into Mamoswine, and going to be able to pick off with an Ice Shard. That's another turn that I don't think Papkun could have afforded to give that up. I think that was a bad call. Rotom Heat is very safe to go into here. I'm guessing the reason it has speed is to try to stay ahead of Mamoswine. Could have come in on the Mamoswine. That's an easy Ice Shard for it to take. Fire off an Overheat. Catch the Zapdos, which is on low HP at that point. And, like, that's probably what he would have caught. I mean, he could have caught the Galarian Slowking, but either way, that's a turn you need to go into Rotom Heat, because either you're going to get a KO on something. So it's unfortunate that didn't work out. But at this point, you know, not really a lot that he can do to stay in this match at this point. Because despite Zapdos being here, does he finally get the burn? Jeez, this I don't think we don't see heavy duty boots. Maybe he's got that covert cloak. I kind of doubt that too. I think he just got lucky. But yeah, you can see him just trying to do some damage to this the Slowking here. I think he gets a, oh no, he doesn't bother to get a good, he doesn't bother to. He saved it. He decided to save it there. In close combat's going to be able to clean that up. He's going to be able to Volt Switch out into the Zapdos, or Hard Switch out into Zapdos, which is also fine. And just pick up the KO. So, well done, Mike. Honestly, well done, Papkun, too. I think you definitely made some tactical errors that could have put you in better positions, because I think you threw away Glamora and you threw away Dragapult at the end of the day. I don't even hate the fact that you're using Phantom Force, because I think this was the opportunity that it is appropriate in which to use it. But I think you sacked the wrong things at a couple of points. So we can move on to our second battle of the week. Oh, I did the thing again. So this is a rematch from, I think, week 1 or 2. Got Logan taking on, remember, Joel, right? So Joel's bringing a pretty similar team to what he brought last time. Sloking's going to lead against the Torkoal. It's exactly what we saw. We're going to get a chilly reception, go slowly into Gastrodon. Stealth Rocks go up, and then we're going to get hard pivot back into Slowking. I think he's predicting something to come in. Probably the Enamorous is probably what he was guessing was going to come in. Back hard out into Gastrodon, and we get a Recover, which I don't totally agree with that play. This is so slow. Let's put this on fast. Torkoal's going to come in and still take decent damage from this Surf. And another Surf is going to knock it down a lot lower. But man, Logan gets super caught off guard by the Solar Beam here. Big mistake for him to do that. I think that should have been scouted. That should have been on his radar. That should have been something he considered that it would be bringing. Then he's going to hit the Raging Bolt. At this point, he's just sacking this Gastrodon. But even we get a Solar Beam, so that way the Raging Bolt doesn't have to burn like Draco Meteor drops. But that's the good thing about him letting something die to the Raging Bolt, is he can just come in and trap it with Dugtrio. So, not a terrible trade there, but it is also a terrible trade. We'll see why in a little bit. So Walking Wake's going to come in. Now it's got the special attack boost, going to flip turn out. I believe that this is probably Scarf based on how it gets played. Big Shadow Ball comes out. Here's we're going to Chilly Reception, get a lot of that back. Corviknight's going to come in. I think it's just going to U-turn to break the balloon, which is smart. And then we've got Dugtrio coming in. Now I need to stop this here, because I think this might be a misconception on both Joel and... This is Joel, right? Yeah, Joel. This is a misconception on both Joel and Logan's parts. I think Logan brought in Dugtrio thinking he had trapped this Goldengo now that it's grounded. And I think Joel thinks he was trapped. But ghost types cannot be trapped, period. He could have easily switched this out. And he just let Goldengo go down. So Logan didn't successfully trap him, but Joel kind of let him because he was unfamiliar with the mechanics there. So Iron Leaf is going to come and take that body press. A Leaf Blade is not going to be able to take out the Great Tusk, but the Mega Horn that he was packing is absolutely going to be able to. Nice bring. Really good versus the rest of the team too, because Logan needs another Mega Horn here, which I think vastly underestimated what was going on. Could have easily gone into Corviknight and been able to deal with that. Maybe even get off a Defog. Or at least force out this Great Tusk. Maybe he's got Brave Bird. There's a lot of options. I don't like that Slowking play. Even if he had just gone Slowking to go hard into Corviknight, I think that would have been better, because then you get Regenerator HP as well. Big throwaway by Logan there. Baxcalibur's going to come in as the Torkoal's going to come out on that. Icicle Spear. I think it picks up the KO on the Torkoal. Yeah. Walking Wake's going to come in, though, and that's obviously going to force it out. And at this point, everything's too low to be able to deal with the Walking Wake. He stays in, 2 straight Dracos. He's got the special attack boost, but still not enough. Logan's only hope is that there's a Draco miss, or somehow that's low enough special attack that he can live this. Which, if that had happened, he probably does come away with a win. If he dodges, or... I don't want to calc, but that would have to be a heck of a roll. So I think Logan threw that away there. He got caught off guard with the Gastrodon. That happens, because the Gastrodon would have been able to pretty successfully check the Walking Wake for most of the battle. It also would have helped still having Slowking around, because Slowking can take special hits. He really opened the door for it by sacking Slowking to the Great Tusk. So, not his best moment. But now it's time to move on to our marquee match of the week.
Marquee match of the week. Now we have a theme.
So here we have Mitch taking on Keenan. Like I said, all these matches are equally close. I think they were all 3-0s, but I think this one had some of the more interesting plays in it, so we'll talk about it. So we got the Gligar versus the Whimsicott. Immediate Stun Spore. I think that's good. You want to get some status on Gligar if you can, just to, you know, kind of help buy you turns against it. Then we get another Nasty Plot here on this Paralyzed Ninetales. Or sorry, Nasty Plot on the Ninetales as it gets paralyzed, and then gets Encored into Nasty Plot, effectively shutting it down. Overquill is going to come in and try to take advantage as the Bear Tick comes in, and Keenan gets caught off guard by the Slush Rush, and gets taken down by the bear. The Overquill gets taken down by the Bear Tick, which, you know, starts off like it's a big setback. So this Crocodile comes in. I think, especially for the new players, when you see, like, you have to start to. I think it's important to take note of the fact that this is a Moxie Crocodile, and the way that we know that is because Intimidate didn't pop. I think I'm just pointing this out because I don't know if some people know how to gather this information, and I think it's good information to have. Knowledge is power in Pokemon. So you really want to take advantage of your opponent giving you information if you have the opportunity to, right? Because Mitch has got information that this is a Choice Scarf Crocodile. So that's also good information to have. Mitch has two pieces of information here that I think tell him a lot about what the set on this Crocodile is, and he's got to take advantage of that, right? So also on this switch, you can assume that we're gonna, so we got the Earthquake coming out. That's great information to have because you know he's locked into that. You can take another one, and he fires off a Will-O-Wisp, which I think is a worthy use of his time. Got the Taunt on the Ninetales, so now it has to attack. You have a very safe switch in Empoleon here. Because it's not going to be packing any move that you can't deal with. Now, I want to say Ice Beam's really surprising to see. And this is not super related to what's going on here, but we'll talk about it a little bit. Freeze Dry is a weaker move by about 20 base power, but it hits water types super effectively. That so vastly opens up the scope for what Ninetales can hit effectively, because this went, if he had Freeze Dry, let's do some basic math here. So right now, Empoleon 4 times resists ice moves because of the water and steel typing. So that means it's a 90 base power move that is stab, so it's like 135, but divided by 4. What's the easy math on that? We'll call that like a 34 maybe. Basically a 34 base power move that comes out on it. If it had been Freeze Dry, the 70 base power move, plus the stab boost, that's 105, but it would be unresisted by Empoleon. So it'd be actually, so despite being 20 base power weaker, it's actually like 3 times stronger against Empoleon. Granted, that only would have done 15%. But still, just be aware of that. And then even if you don't want to go with Freeze Dry, if you don't think you need Freeze Dry, Alolan Ninetales sets up its own snow, so it can't miss blizzards. So I was surprised to see Ice Beam on Alolan Ninetales because there's not a real big reason to have it. You usually see Freeze Dry or Blizzard. So just something I thought would note. Empoleon's gonna just go for a Surf, gets damage off on something, right? But I don't like the play for him to decide to stay and take a Sacred Sword despite the flip turn. Gonna get Whimsicott in. Obviously threaten this with a Moonblast, but okay, which we got to talk about this. You know what? I know I haven't been doing a lot of calcing, but I just want to check a speed calc real quick. So, and also I feel like I need to defend myself there. In the search thing, it said the Sovereign Citizens Movement. That was a link I had clicked because I saw the Sovereign Citizens flag. Not part of that craziness, right? So I just want to check the speed on Samurott. That's not how you spell that. Suin Samurott. Lead. Let's say he's Jolly, max speed. Whimsicott. We're gonna say no speed and modest nature. 268. Okay, so he could have just been fully defensive. I was afraid he was gonna be running like Lagging Tail or something, which is this thing that I've seen some Whimsicotts. Oh no, but he's got leftovers, so I couldn't figure that out. That was a waste of everyone's time. And I revealed some accidental Google searches, so my bad. Okay, so Moonblast goes off. Pretty good amount of damage, but Ceaseless Edge starts to stack up those hazards, which could be a problem for him, right? So we're going to get the Flip Turn out into Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales is basically just here to be sacked at this point. This is a sponge to take some hits, right? Good use of it there. Like he's throwing this Pokemon away, just trying to get some damage off on stuff, and it's gotten 2 KOs. Honestly, really, really great for him. Luster Purge is going to come out. I think that seeing the Luster Purge go off twice in a row, I think there probably should have been a calc and figured out what's going on with Latios. I think you probably should have tested it with Hisui and Samurott this upcoming turn, right? I don't like that he goes into Alola Ninetales here because I don't think it's necessary. I think you could have gone, if you were worried about this not being choiced, you could have gone Hisui and Samurott into Alola Ninetales. I don't think you lose a ton from that. So, you know, just a little tactical error there. I don't think it's a big deal because, yeah, but then we get the Beartic to come out. I guess he was just setting up the hail. I guess that was the game plan there. Playrough's going to come out. I mean, he does exactly what he needs to do. He gets off the Terra Fairy Playroughs. Terra Fairy's a legal Terra type for him, right? I just gotta check. I'm sure I'm sure it is, but okay. I know there was discussion of us Terra banning Beartic, so I kind of forgot. But he's gonna be able to come out now. He determines this is definitely his choice scarf as he drops a Draco Meteor, yeah, it's gonna be a safe, easy win for Mitch from this point out. Mitch played really well in this. Like I said, a couple of small tactical errors that I think he should have reconsidered. But I think he just outplayed George in this one. Or not George. Your name's not George. Your name's Keenan. Okay? I'm gonna make that mistake a couple more times this season. Just be prepared for that. But that's the marquee match of the week. Now I've been informed that some people in the community. By that, for the South, I believe it's Mike. I want to give him credit. Has been taking stats. So let's actually check the MVP tabs. So kill leader on the season is Dragapult, which is surprising. It's only at 6. Like Dragapult and Alomomola being at 6 and 5 at this point in the season is surprisingly low, which I think I'm good with. I think that means there's a lot of parity in the season, that not only are people using a variety of Pokemon on their teams, but also a variety of teams are thriving, which is good. I like that. Death Leader, Alola Ninetales, and Hisui and Samurott makes sense. They're on teams that are they're on a team that's kind of struggling, and they're going to be brought a lot, and they have a specific role, and it's not always usually sweeping, right? Most attacks dealt, Hisui and Samurott, which again is and isn't surprising. It does the most for its team by just kind of recklessly clicking Ceaseless Edge and getting up spikes as much as possible. Zapdos being there also isn't a surprise. It's a Pokemon that's on the field a lot. Same with Alomomola. Most hits taken. Not surprised as these two, especially after this past week. Really just put in a big workload. And then here's the metrics and stuff. You guys can take a look at that as you'd like. But that's interesting. I'm glad I finally checked in on that, because I appreciate the people who do that, because it's tedious and typically thankless work. So I do just want to thank Mike for taking care of this. Let's take a look at the standings. So we got Papcoon. Was that because who did you just play this week? I've already forgotten. Papcoon played Mike, yes, and that was his first loss on the season. So been having a very good season, Papcoon has. There we go, jeez. Standings, that's what we want. Been having a very good season. That's his first stumble. Still got quite a few games left, but looking good right now. Keenan's still yet to pick up a win. I'm hoping he can do that at some point this season. But everyone else pretty close, and nobody really outside. Like Papcoon's still within striking distance, especially with only 2 weeks of games remaining. It's almost at anyone's game. I think Keenan might be locked out of playoff contention, but he can definitely play spoiler for some people. So looking forward to that. Also, to be fair, I think the way, and they're not like real divisions, but I kind of had to make divisions just to like make the schedule work nice. And I believe that like Keenan is in a division with Mike and Papcoon, who are both doing quite well this season. So kind of bad luck there. Not as many. You got extra games versus like pretty good players who have really good seasons going on right now. Looking at next week, we've got Logan taking on Mitch, and I mean every game matters at this point. I can't say what is or isn't a big game because every game's important. Because everybody's so closely tight. I think Logan's at 3-2, and Mitch is also at 3-2. So this is a very important game because if Logan gets the win, he secures the tiebreaker since they're in the same quote unquote division. They play twice, so you can like definitively own the tiebreaker, which would be really big. And then Papcoon and Keenan, not too much to be like. Papcoon is vulnerable here because I think he wants that number 1 seed. I think he wants to finish strong in the season. So Keenan gets him here. That's a big deal. Joel versus Mike. Mike is I think at 3-2, and Joel is at 2-3. So this is a super important game. I think they might have already played at some point. See if I can find that real quick. Oh. Okay, maybe they haven't played. That must be oh yeah, that's probably a cross division thing. But that means it's a like definitive tiebreaker that one of these two can own. So Joel can come away with that. That's a huge win for him. It's a very important game. It's also the trade deadline. So, oh wait, I guess this past week was the trade deadline. Nobody does trades anymore anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I probably should have been vocal about that. I think that wraps up for the South. So I'm gonna get back in the habit of thanking some people for stuff. So I want to thank Brett for putting together these great docs. Very much appreciate it. I want to thank Mike for doing the stats. That's a big deal. And I just want to thank everyone for doing a good job of getting the games. I know we had one forfeit like 2 weeks ago, but everyone's been pretty proactive about doing stuff. I just really appreciate everyone coming out and taking care of business, so to speak. So thank you all for listening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.